Welcome to this week's edition of Coach Prep. Coach Don and I are here in the Cherokee Batting Range podcast studio getting ready to record episode number 234, where we're going to talk about softball is basically a simple game, but we got to make sure that we keep that in perspective as we're getting ready to think about practicing. Before we get into that, let's talk about our sponsors. First, the Anderson Bat Company. Everything Fast Pitch is very proud to have Anderson Bat Company as our presenting sponsor. Anderson Bat Company is using the latest and greatest bat technology to corner the market in the fast pitch world. They have the -9 Rocket Tech, the -10 Carbon, and the -11 Carbon Light. Anderson Bat Company is using this technology to put a high-performing bat in the hands of hitters that really know the difference between a good bat and a great bat. We're also working with Anderson to provide a discount for all of our listeners. Go to the Anderson Bat Company website and order your bats. Use the EFP20 discount, which is for everything fast pitch, and you'll get a 20% discount. Make sure you take advantage of that EFP20. It's a great way for you to save that additional 20%. Also helps to support the podcast. If you're in a position where you can, please become a patron. Go to patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. Coach Don and I are very appreciative of the fact that we've got some patrons that have been with us for a long time and really have kept the wheels turning on this podcast, but we would love to see some more people get on board. So again, if you're in a position where you can help us, if you see value in what we're doing, go to patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. So, Don, no matter the age, no matter what the situation is, we have players have to be able to manage certain specific basic skills. So, have you seen Bull Durham? I know you're not a movie guy, but
I think I've seen that one a long time ago.
The movie Bull Durham, there's a scene where the manager of the team is very, very frustrated with his team. And so he decides to use the scare them into doing what I want them to do technique. So has them all in a part of the locker room. He starts off yelling and screaming, and basically he comes to the point that this is a simple game. You hit the ball, you catch the ball, you throw the ball.
Right.
So if it's true in Bull Durham, it's true in our world. It's true in every avenue and every facet of the game. No matter what age level we're talking about, if you cannot execute the most fundamental basic skills, this game is going to be a nightmare. And the reason it's important for our Coach Prep audience is we want to make sure that everybody understands that when you're getting ready to plan practice, when you're thinking about what you're supposed to do, if you have players on your team that cannot effectively throw the ball and catch it, why are we running first and third plays? Why are we running rundowns? Why are we worrying about relays? Why are we worrying about cutoffs? Why are we thinking about all these advanced skills when the most fundamental pieces of any of these things working are things that we're not good at? So if we can't actually throw it and catch it, we need to take a gigantic step back and make sure that that's the first thing that we're working on. And then once we've got that stuff ironed out and working pretty well, then we can start to think about adding in some of the more advanced and more skillful things that we all love working on. But I see it all the time where a coach, goes out to practice, the kids warm up their arms badly. They don't throw or catch the ball very well in their pregame routine or pre-practice routine. And then all of a sudden kids are in positions and we're just scorching ground balls at them. And then we're shocked that they can't field it, that they can't throw it, and the person that they're throwing it to can't catch it. We get more and more frustrated, more and more angry, but we didn't spend the time or correct the most fundamental problem, which was the basic skill of throwing it and catching it.
Right. I'm excited about this topic too, Tori. I know a lot of times it's just more exciting to do the other stuff.
Right.
Right. I want to do the fun stuff. I don't want to do the other pieces. And I could be expecting everybody to do that on their own.
Right.
Because we should all be able to do all those things already. And so I neglect to spend the extra time.
Should and can are about as far apart on this spectrum as we can possibly get. And I understand, because again, here's the thing. When you're thinking about getting ready to play a game, so let's say whatever level it is, this could be 8 and under rec league, or it could be 18 and under travel ball or college ball. If we're not able to execute the most fundamental things, we're not prepared to do the other stuff. But we start thinking about, well, we got a game on Friday and we don't know how to cover a bunt. So we spend time working on bunt coverages, making sure that the first baseman and the third baseman know they're supposed to charge in. But when they charge in and they pick up the ball, nobody has any idea where it's really going. They might even know they're supposed to throw it to first, but they don't have the skills to throw it there well. And the person who's trying to catch it on the run when they're moving over to cover from second base or whatever it might be isn't very good at catching the ball when they're standing still and just trying to play catch with somebody. So, I think we have to keep thinking about just the reality of our situation and making sure that we're taking care of, the building blocks before we're trying to worry about the trim. If we built a really crummy foundation, worrying about the beautiful marble countertops is probably a pretty bad idea.
No, I think, and you were talking about preparing for things, right? And I think I heard recently a quote: "Failing to prepare is preparing to fail."
Right.
And we're not setting the kids up for success if we don't give them the tools in the beginning. Much fun as all those specialty plays are and all those things, they don't count unless we can do the basics, right? Utilizing a lot of our practice time. I mean, even at the college level, we were working on throwing and catching and throwing on the run and, doing a lot of what we would consider the basics: short hops, forehands, backhands.
Yeah.
We're doing all those things all over and over. And yeah, they can already do them, but you might be the best bunter on the team, but if you don't practice it, eventually somebody's going to be better than you are.
And it's all diminishable skill. I mean, if you don't work on all these things enough, you're going to lose the ability to do them at a high level anyhow. So, but to me, I understand why it happens, because it's more fun to hit ground balls than it is to keep working with players on throwing mechanics. It's a lot more fun to get into the strategies and trick plays and all that kind of stuff. We have to make sure that we're seeing a much clearer picture of what our kids are truly capable of doing. And again, the most glaring thing that I've seen over all these years of coaching is that way more games are lost than are won. Way more teams lose because they throw a ball away, they don't catch a ball, they drop a pop-up, whatever it is, than we ever see win because somebody hits a walk-off home run in the bottom of the seventh inning, or somebody makes a diving catch in the gap to save the game when the winning run's at third base. It's just so much of the we lose rather than we win kind of outcomes, because, again, so many of these kinds of things are the things that we're not paying attention to. So, again, coaches, if we're not good at the most fundamental skills, we need to back up, slam on the brakes, and go back and work on them until we feel good about them. And if that means that, this practice was 90% fundamentals and 10% other stuff, you're a whole lot closer to winning on Friday than you would have been with 10% fundamentals and 90% other stuff when the fundamentals don't support the other stuff.
Yeah, I think that's exciting to share, because,
and we see it all the time.
But it's just more fun, Tori.
Yeah, well, and we want to have fun.
Yeah,
but
no, I know.
But winning's kind of fun, and playing good's kind of fun, and not making a bunch of errors is kind of fun, and not having to watch your shortstops throw more balls into the stands than they do to the first baseman, and those kinds of things too.
So be realistic where we're at,
right?
Where we
and no matter what age, because there's a lot of older players that we still have to work on it. Stan's reminding us
some more movie stuff.
Yeah, the most, in my opinion, one of the two greatest coaches ever, Mr. Miyagi. Starting with muscle memory by teaching kids how to wax
Even
on,
I know
wax
that
off.
one, the Karate Kid, Tori.
Sand the floor.
And then all of a sudden he did it when he was defending himself. Yeah.
I'm impressed. Don saw Karate Kid in 1984.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to wrap up number 234. Please make sure you support Anderson Bat and become a patron if you can. Go to patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. Make sure you go to the fastpitchprep.com website, check out the YouTube channel and the blog posts, and make sure you order your Square Cuts training discs. They're $49.95 a dozen. And also make sure you reach out to us with questions, comments, ideas, Player of the Week nominations at everythingfastpitch@gmail.com or fastpitchprep@gmail.com. So for Coach Don McKinley, our producer Stan Lewis, this is Coach Torrey saying thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again next week.